You're listening to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristin and Polly, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you? How are all the listeners?
Oh, I think everyone's probably having a fantastic Wednesday thus far. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. I'm Kristin, and this is my fine feathered friend, Polly.
Welcome and thank you. Hello, Kristin. Super excited to be here. Super excited to talk about the moon and talk about, when people find themselves in a situation that they no longer like.
Oh, I'm strangely familiar with that. Yes, Polly.
Well, look, we all have, sometimes it's just like we don't like standing in line at the grocery store.
Oh, true. Yes. It can be as small as that or as big as something else.
Yeah, because that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're at the gas station and the person in front of you is, whatever, and you're going to run out of gas as you wait for them to move their car, that type of thing. This happens.
Yes.
It's all normal. But
it is.
Then there's those other things where you're like, oh my God, if I stay in this situation, it's really not good for my mental wellness.
And that's a little more aggressive. Yeah.
Yes. But before we do that, share a high vibe experience.
Okay.
I'll surprise you with this.
I love a good unexpected question on air. That is the highlight. I am going to go with a child moment. And obviously they're all in school, so they're not listening, so I can talk about them as freely as I like. But it's the eldest, and just when you think they are struggling and draining you and society, they surprise you. She walked into my place of employment this week as a chipper little ray of sunshine, came in and said, "Hey, does anybody want a coffee?" Like offering to me and a variety of clients if they wanted a coffee. And then we all said no, but she was very much eager to bring a coffee to anyone. And then she left because there's a Starbucks right down the street, right a couple doors down from the studio. Went down there, came back. When she left, everyone was like, "Oh, what a gem. What a joy. She is so nice." And in my head, I was like, "Oh, you didn't see her last night." But I just said yes. And it brought me such peace knowing she has that. Because you don't always see every side of your child. And to see that side of her, I was like, oh, I was rolling for the rest of the day just on cloud 9. Happy.
Yes, I love that. I love the surprise. I love the pleasant surprises.
Right? Yes. Because it can.
Well, I was just going to say maybe the lesson of that is oh my God, we were just talking about this yesterday, you and I. How we so often think about people on either their highest form or their lowest form.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
And so maybe this was a reminder for you to think of her on her highest form.
Totally. Oh, I love it to bring it full circle. It most absolutely was. And now that I know this high potential exists, I will be tapping into that and expecting that more often. But yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. We can say thank you, God, for reminding us that.
Thank you for the friendly reminder. Yes. Yeah.
Because it's so easy. It's kind of lazy. And listen, I am lazy. I'm a lazy girl. But it is kind of unhealthily lazy to just automatically go to like the lowest form, the lowest vibration that the person has the potential to be. But we often don't want to muster up the energy to see them otherwise.
Okay. That's the truth. It almost feels laboring and like, yeah, you're right.
Because it's like this feeling of, if I see them this way, if I like raise my vibration and I see them in this potential, am I going to be disappointed? Right? But if we just see them there without expectations, that's the kicker. But if we can see them there without expectations, what a joy.
That is the kicker. And that is, I mean, in bigger than just this, the moment your expectation doesn't meet the reality, that's when things run amok.
Oh my God. And okay, and I'll share my high vibration.
Yes.
But I still have to think of it. But isn't being disappointed one of the most challenging things in life? Because you're like, yes, I've got this. I feel hopeful. I'm like, this dream is getting like, it's like the balloon is getting filled up with air or whatever we put into it. And then,
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? It's almost, I'm thinking of it from like a parent's point of view. Remember when your kids were little, like toddler age? We pretty much did everything so they wouldn't feel disappointment.
yeah.
Because that was tantrum city. So then at some point they had to feel disappointment and get some coping skills. And I feel like I know some people who didn't go through that phase.
You're so funny.
I won't name names.
My kids never had tantrums. Never. No, that's not true. But you know, they were, I have to say, they were relatively easy in their younger years. Like when they were little, they were really easy. They just gave me the run for the money.
Yes. Yeah.
Two of them gave me the run for the money in their teenage years.
Really?
Yeah. One of them, I mean, you know, he's only 17, so there's a whole lot left. But
there's a lot of potential.
There's a lot of potential, but thus far he's been pretty easy.
Nice.
I mean, albeit he's not in the state right now. So
you know what? So hey, which makes it easy. What more do you want?
It makes it a little bit easier. Okay. High vibration experience for me. You know what? I have to say, and this will sound kind of cheesy or simple or whatever. Like, it's just been a great week. But I have to say, like I told you, I slept in until 6:30 this morning. I never sleep in. I am known to get up before 5. So,
it's true. She is.
Yeah. So sleeping in until 6:30 was like, oh my God. And then I always go outside and meditate. And it was so nice. And then I see the sunlight reflecting off the pool, and it bounces on the plants. And
how pretty!
And it's so pretty. And you know what it reminded me of? You know, there's that meditation. I forget what it's called, but where you purposely stare into the flickering light of a candle. I forget what it's called, but you're supposed to have a breakthrough with it. Anyhow, so I was just like watching this light that just like rhythmically like runs on the plants and on the wall of the stucco wall thing. And it was just so pretty, and it reminded me of that. So very simple, but a very high vibrational moment.
I love a couple things about that. I love that it was just like you didn't rely or react to anyone else's energy. This was like a self-inflicted positive moment. And that it took nothing but essentially nature to bring you that joy. Like that's when I love a good moment like that. That feels so successful to me because it was so basic but so powerful. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm sure that we've talked about the importance of getting outside and spending time in nature. I'm sure we talk about that. I'm sure we talk about moving your body in whatever capacity you can. But all of those, they're pretty darn basic. I mean, they really are basic. Get outside, move your body, and move your mind also. I mean, just as important as moving your body is moving your mind, not thinking the same stuff all the time.
Right.
But so it's those basic things that change your life. Or maybe not so much change your life, but they keep you in the flow of life, right? So it's not something like you need to like have this explosion and change your life, but it's more you stay in the steady flow of life.
Yeah. It keeps you kind of grounded and
happy.
Yes. To summarize it quite easily, happy. What more do we want? All right, before we go on, listeners, call in 323-203-0815. Call in with a question. We can help you out. We can pull a card. We can do a reading. We can help you problem solve.
We can do whatever you want. You know, my chair is a little tippy, so sometimes I feel like I'm going to fall back into that.
Well, full disclosure, if you go down, I am going to probably die laughing. Like, I won't rally and smoothly move on.
It is a very hard floor because I still need to the house was remodeled, but there are still things that I want to get done. Like it's kind of an empty space right now. And so I don't have, it's a very hard floor. Ooh. It's just like, it's stone. And so I don't have a rug on it. It would hurt me, Kristin.
Then let's sit still with a nice long spine.
Oh my God. Okay. So let's talk about life, like when we need to change things. I'm sure that you can think of some times that you wanted to change your life where you're just like, I can't take any more of it.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh yeah. And so when you said that, two ideas popped into my head, like big ones, where I made a full-blown career change. I went from a very busy, stressful corporate career in pharmaceutical sales to teaching Pilates, which is way more zen and personal and far less stress. So, but it didn't happen overnight. You feel it coming, and then you have to answer the annoyance and the call to it. And who knows if it needed to be a full-blown change the way I did it, but it worked out well, and I'm glad that went. So that was a big change.
Wait, did you do it was it like this sudden, like, I'm done, I'm out of here,
You know what? It felt like that internally. I knew, like, this is the change. And then the whole implementation of it had to be a little bit more, I had to make a plan, and I had to follow through with that. So what I did is my husband and I decided this is the way, I decided, and he was part of the team player. And that's the way we knew that my career path was going. So the plan I went to my boss and I said, here's what I'm doing. I'm not going to another company. I'm going to get certified to teach Pilates. And he said, well, this is odd. We've never had someone quit because of this particular reason. So why don't you just work? And I went to a part-time status until they filled my position. So it was a really great transition from one career to the other. I think best case scenario.
Nice. I love that. Well, and look at that can be a very, make you feel like, okay, this is the right thing. This is the right move, right?
It always does. When there's less friction on the path of making the change, it always feels just a little more like supportive and reinforcing. Yep, you did the right thing. Yeah. I think if it would have blown up and he would have been like, how can you do this? Get out of here. Give me your computer. And it would have not been received so smoothly. I think I would have second guessed myself and had like a different story to tell you today.
But that's not to say that if there is a blow up on the other person's end or whatever, because lots of times there will be, that's not to say that's not the right answer.
Totally. And I, just as a personal disclosure, I am not one to embrace confrontation in any capacity. I do not like it. I like lovey little flowy changes that are win-win-wins for everyone. And when I get faced with any kind of confrontation, I am not enjoying it. Now, in my world now, as a business owner and employer, it happens. And I'm much better about dealing with it. I don't love it. I'll never love it. I don't know.
Well, I don't love it either. I mean, it happens. You know what's weird with me is like when something like that happens, especially like business-wise, it leaves me with kind of a crunchy feeling. Like it's like it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel good. Well, I'll just tell a little story.
Oh, story time! I love it.
Okay, so there was somebody who I didn't know very well, and I think I did a reading for him. Like I was doing these events in California, so that was a bit ago, 8-10 years ago. It was a bit ago. So I met him at one of those events, and super nice guy, and he reached out to me last year, and he reached out to me through Facebook. And so it had been like 8 to 10 years or whatever. I'm never on Facebook. And so I saw it like maybe 2 months after he reached out to me, and I don't even know how I found it because I'm not like somebody posts sometimes for me on Facebook, I don't know, but I don't even think they do that. Anyhow, I'm not on Facebook. So I reached back out to him and I said, go to my website. And anyhow, so I ended up doing a reading for him. And the reading was like, whatever, felt fine. The partner part, like I tuned into his partner, and that's sometimes interesting. Like there'll be things like when I do a reading where it's almost like it feels like it's like that person or that part of their life is in a separate room. Like I'm not really tuning into it. It's just kind of, it's almost like it's in a separate room, and I just kind of know, okay, well, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
That's the best way I can describe it. So did not talk about his partner at all. He had some health stuff. We did like a little bit of energy work, and I think he felt some peace. Well, I think it was like, and then he was going to come as a guest to one of our classes as a free guest, and he ended up having to go to the ER, and then he subsequently crossed over a few days later.
Dude, so, I did not see that coming in this story time.
Yeah, I thought so anyhow, so he crossed over. He died like maybe 2 weeks after I did the reading. So number one.
Did he come to you then?
No.
Okay.
I think he did a little bit after he crossed over, but I mean, it was different. It was a little bit different. But anyhow, so number one, did the reading, the guy crossed over, but I distinctly remember the thing about the partner. So then get this. This is the part that's so interesting. I mean, all of this is interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in. I'm committed.
Okay, so, and the guy was a lovely guy. So get this. You know how my website has PayPal. So you can use your credit card or you can use PayPal or whatever. So like a few weeks after he crossed over, somebody went through his, but on his behalf, like he was still alive, and said that that the charge for this reading, they wanted a refund for it and that it wasn't approved or whatever. So I'm assuming that his partner was just like trying to be like, trying to get back any cash that went out, which I get, whatever. I could have disputed it. I would never dispute something like that. But it was just such a weird and bizarre feeling for me. It was so weird because I distinctly remember the way I felt like that partner was off, separate, completely separate. We didn't even, it was like we didn't even talk about him. And just the way it unfolded, it was so weird to me. But it kind of gave me, and then we'll move on, but I just have to say, it kind of gave me, I was listening to this other guy on a podcast, and he was talking about how he gave a reading for somebody. It was like this amazing reading. It was so hopeful for her, whatever. This was even bigger. She left the reading on her bike, was hit and killed. And the thing is, when she had the reading and she felt so hopeful, he was like, he just connected to those highest vibrations, right? And I thought that was so interesting, right? Because I do believe that we get to choose when we die, how we die. But I also, it's like, I don't know. I just think it's so interesting, the timing of those readings and how like he had so much, the guy that I did the reading for had so much anxiety and like panic stuff about his health. And he left that reading feeling much calmer. Like he hadn't felt that calm for a while. And so it's just really interesting. Anyhow, it's another one of those things that I believe, like, I mean, I totally believe in psychic ability, it's what I do, in psychic abilities, all that stuff. But I also believe that there are things outside of our
control or realm to see.
Control, outside of what we are meant to know.
It's interesting because this is so funny. I think I know what podcast you listened to because I listened to it 2 days ago. And it was this man, and he was being interviewed. Yeah. And he explained it. And I remember like understanding what he was saying, and it hit me in a different way. And I was going to tell you, so this is fantastic. What he described is, as a psychic reader, you are exposed to the person's energy and like what path they're on. Yes. And if it is, but then there is something called destiny. And if it is truly the individual's destiny, the psychic reader, he said, will not see it. So in this particular instance, the destiny was getting hit on a bike and leaving the world. And so that was going to be hidden from the psychic reader. And I was like, now
destiny is hidden. I just feel like it's one of those possibilities. I feel like Okay, here's how I would look at it. I would look at it as something shifted. I would look at it like we have those moments, whether we call it a miracle, a
I like
miracle,
that too.
a miracle or a healing or whatever. We have those moments where energy shifts. Something happens, whether we imagine to be this little little whirlwind to come in or whatever, and causes a shift. Something happens, life is no longer the same. For all we know, that woman that was hit by the bike after the reading, for all we know, she reached an awareness that was what she was supposed to reach in this life.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Like we don't know. We don't know. But I do, it's a funny thing because like to me, destiny is kind of like in the same realm as past lives. And I know we can pick up on past lives. I know we can pick up on life purpose, that type of stuff. But there is just the thing that there are other realms, other possibilities that we have to trust the universe will come in and shift things without our awareness.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
I mean, I could just speak for my own life. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure everybody can say this, that there are things that happened. It's like you walk through a door and nothing's the same.
Yeah.
Right? And that happens in our life.
Mm-hmm. I can think of several like experiences where life happened and you're never the same after. Not for good, not for bad, just like your life path took a sharp left. Still moving forward, still going in a great direction, but it is different.
Something's different. Like there's some, like even if you look at it this way, like there's some chemical change within you and you start reacting to the world around you differently. Mm-hmm. There's some, and the thing is, people on the outside might for some time be looking at you and being like, she's the same. But over time, they're like, something has changed. It's like when somebody is, and this is a really difficult topic, but when somebody is going through a sobriety thing and, struggling with addiction, and when they first decide, okay, I'm going to be sober, if they've had that, God-given strength or whatever, I'm sober, everybody for a while looks at them as the same, I don't trust when they're not going to fall off the wagon, right? But something changed inside of them and they're working so hard, they're sober, and they want other people to recognize how hard they're working in their sobriety. Yeah. But people aren't ready to because it hasn't been long enough. But something changed. There was that chemical change within.
Totally. And that's like a more of a quicker change. My 30-year high school reunion was last weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I did not go. But my best friend Meredith went, and she was giving me the play-by-play. And I had not seen these people in a very long time, decades. And so we were messaging back and forth, and I was saying things about who they were, and she was like, no, not the case. Giving me like their new persona. And which makes sense. After 30 years, we all grow. And,
hopefully.
Right? And they were just not who I remembered them being. And she said, like, your mind would be blown if you were here and got to engage with them because they look the same, although a little bit older, just a little bit. And they are grown. They've matured. They've cooked more. They're, so much better.
I love that. And is that not reassuring?
Totally. So again, my expectation was I was looking at their lower vibe and look at them blowing my mind, growing, awesome. Becoming amazing.
I love that. Okay. Well, let's go back to the real top. Oh, we still have to talk about the moon, but let's talk about like when you are in a thing a situation that you want change. So, if it's like the rattlesnake is going to strike at you, you jump out of the way so you don't get bit by the rattlesnake. So that one, you're not like pausing and reflecting. Burning car, you hop right out. You're not pausing and reflecting. But there are other times where we do need to pause. We do need to let things settle. Probably like Kristin, when you were in that. Oh, we have a caller.
Do we have a caller? All right.
I was like, what happened?
Hi, caller. Are you there?
Hi. This is Jana. This is Kristen.
Hi, this is Kristen. This is Polly. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We are fantastic. What can we help you with today?
Yeah, we are hoping you have a really juicy question for us. We love
Juice it up. What you got? We are here for you.
Not so much a question, but you guys have been really resonating with me today. From Kristen's talk about the career change, which is something I can completely identify with the expectations for our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the low vibration, high vibration thing you were talking about, and avoiding disappointment.
Yeah.
And then, Polly, something you just said, what was it? Oh, about those, the life experiences that can kind of fundamentally shift your values or how you see the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've experienced all of those things in the last couple of years. So you guys were just really resonating with me today.
Yay!
That's awesome. Well, and look at it this way, like as you start having that shift inside, you will start connecting differently with the world. And that's what's beautiful. That's I think what people forget. Like when people are like, but I want to, live a high vibrational life, or I want more peace. But as you start finding that inside, you start connecting with that on the outside, which is really beautiful.
Yeah. It starts as an inside job.
Yes. Hey, do you want us to pull a card for you? Each of us can pull a card for you.
Sure.
Or if you have a question, you can this is your time.
Yeah, it's your time. Do you have a question about you, about the week, about...
But you know what? Let's talk about this quickly, because I feel like this resonates with her. The energy of the full moon that's coming up. The full moon's on Friday, and what I was going to tell, but I do believe that this resonates with the color. So some people are going to feel this almost like this pressure to do things, this pressure to just like imagine like there's this pressure coming down on the top of your head, and it makes you want to take action. It's kind of interesting because it's very similar to our topic this week, but it makes you want to take action. And I do feel like this pressure that comes up really ends up helping release things. So either things are going to be, this is so interesting to the caller. I think this is so funny. I think that there's going to be something revealed about your neighbors or some type of social thing that's going on. It's so funny. But here's the thing, like this pressure that happens kind of splits things open, and it makes people want to take action. But I do feel like let things settle for a few days after the full moon before you react and before you take action. Like let things settle so that you have a clear understanding of everything that's being exposed, if that makes sense. Like Don't randomly go after to get things settled. Let me put it that way. Let things settle.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, so the hot tip there is just to wait a beat before you react.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
And let things, because I feel like there's going to be this kind of stuff being revealed, but it's not like this big bomb. It's like this, it kind of seeps out little by little, and so you got to wait till you get all the answers. But you will. You will get all of them. Everything you want. I know. I'm so excited.
I love that.
So excited.
I love that for you, caller.
I love it for all of us.
I know.
But it is funny because I do think some people are going to feel some pressure to get stuff done, pressure to make changes.
The moon is actually it's funny you say that, because it's like all the research I did, the one consistent was the Aries full moon is potent with the energy of change.
Yeah. And the other thing that I see is the way it comes in is it kind of causes separations and splits. And so that's just the nature of this energy of the moon, is it really does cause it's like allows more space in between things. And so people really will, it's almost like if you imagine, something comes in and you're like, wow, that's powerful. And you step back, it causes people to be like, okay, I'm going to give this some space. I'm going to give this some room. It's just by nature of this energy coming in.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I wonder how it'll be at our retreat.
I know.
Because we have a retreat coming up this weekend, and everybody's going to I need space from everybody else.
That could be interesting. You know what? I'm going to keep my expectations open and look for the highest vibe from everyone attending. That's how I'm going to manage it.
Okay, caller, do you have like a question? I mean, is there something you want? And I'm sorry, I missed your name. Was it Janice?
Jana.
Jana, thank you. Do you have a specific thing that you want us to focus on?
Actually, I have a child graduating high school and graduating college this year, and I just have a lot of, I guess, that parent anxiety about their futures and direction and like what I'm supposed to do to help, and then allowing them to make their decisions too.
I love that, and congratulations.
I know that's a feat, getting to this stage in the game.
It
Good
truly
job.
is.
Nicely done.
I'll tune in psychically, but the card that you got was success, which you can't get any better than that. So that's 6 of stars, success. It's beautiful. Holding that gratitude. I feel like holding the gratitude in your heart for what you've achieved. And there's a little bit of you not wanting to move past like this moment in time. It's almost like you wanting things to stand still, but not. Like you have this ebb and flow of yes, keep it as it is. But then part of you is like, but there's also this. And so you're in this real ebb and flow of change and shift of what you want and who you are. And I almost venture to say that it's more about your time of self-exploration, your time of change, your time of transformation, your time of strength, your time of beginning things that are fresh, more than the idea of your kids going off, if that makes sense. Like your kids are going to be fine. It's more about you. And I am hearing, this is funny, the word discipline is coming in. And so I do feel like there's something about you recalling back this discipline that you used to have for yourself in terms of like holding yourself accountable for what you wanted in your life. Like you got a little bit relaxed on that, holding yourself accountable for what you want in life and strengthening that, because this is a really great time for you learning to how to understand yourself, how you move through the world and what you want and how to express yourself. So it's more about you than the children. The kids are going to be fine.
There you go.
So, okay, you have no idea how much that just hit home with me.
I love that.
Wow.
Well, it's never really from me. It's always from somewhere else. So
yeah. Okay, so to kind of, I think this flows with that really well. So I got the card 7 of Stars, which is faith. And I love that, building on what Polly said. And I feel like this is like you're really about to step into something that is going to bring you the joy that you've been seeking. Like maybe it's been on the back burner, maybe it's been on hold, but it's been very looming in your head and very like weighing there, and you've known it's here. And maybe it's with this next step with the kids, and it'll open up a little time for you, and you can really, but it also seems like you have to have faith that the joy will be there, but it will require a little bit of conviction on your part to get it done.
Belief, yes.
Okay.
Belief, yes.
Yes, that speaks to me too.
Well, and look at this way, like you've done the hard work. You've done the heavy lifting, so to speak. So now it really is like the faith. It's reminding yourself that you've done the heavy lifting. You've done a great job. They're ready. Congratulations. And now it's about you.
Thank you.
You made it this far. I think you're winning.
You are winning. Absolutely 100%. Yes. Thank you so much for calling, and we really appreciate it. If you ever have questions, comments, whatever, you can text or go to Instagram or call us.
Yes, follow us on Instagram,
you.
truth.wellness.psychic, and we check our DMs. So if you ever have a follow-up question, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. Have a great
welcome.
day. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. I love a good caller.
I do too. Okay.
That was fun.
So we were talking about being stuck, right? Or wanting something to change. And how sometimes I think we were talking about this, how sometimes we have to let things settle before we really settle so that we're not making the reaction. So if we're in a situation where we're not feeling good, we're uncomfortable, we might react to what's making us uncomfortable, which might not even be what we think is making us uncomfortable. It could be a trigger from 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is why letting things settle before, so that we have clarity before we make our plan, if that makes sense.
Yes. Because I think sometimes in the heat of the moment, like when everything's whirlwinding around and there's no smooth thinking. Like rarely, and I'm not saying no one never, but rarely are we able to really tap into what the calm, true inner voice is trying to tell us in the heat of the moment. And you see that with like all ages. It doesn't even matter, like young kids, easy. In the heat of the moment, I had a friend, and she has 5 kids, and older 3 and then her younger 2 are the same age as my younger 2, and I really learned a lot from her. We would do like play dates and sit around, and one time we had elementary school kids, and her, second oldest was in high school and came home wound up about something and was going to send an email to a teacher and all this stuff. And the mom said, my friend said, you know what? Sleep on it. Never pop off an email or send a message until you have slept on it. Tomorrow morning we'll have breakfast, and if you're still wound up and the heat is still there and you really feel this passionately about it, then we can take action, but sleep on it. And I love that. And I tell my kids that all the time. Like, they're wound up, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a coach, something happened, and instead of reacting, just sleep on it. And then you know what? Sometimes you're still wound up in the morning, but sometimes you're like, meh, no biggie.
Yeah, and I love it when we're not reacting to something. But think of those times, like maybe somebody's in a career for 20 years, a marriage for 20 years, and they're just like, whatever it is, and they're just like, I can't do it anymore. This has sucked. I'm out. But even then, there's so much that has built up, and so you get somebody to help you. Get somebody, a therapist, life coach, whatever, I don't care. Somebody in your corner to help you sift through before you make any big change.
Yes.
Like clarity, like have somebody in your corner that can look at things objectively and help you create a plan.
And you know what? Often, someone in your corner that's not like your best friend, who just is your like hype girl, like get him, whatever, like you need that person in your life for sure, but in other way, then you need like a nice solid level-headed person.
Somebody that doesn't have an agenda besides your wellness.
Yes, they have no skin in the game except for you being okay.
Absolutely. And that is so important, because it's way too easy, like what you said, the hype girl. It's way too easy to lean in. Like, say you're in an unhappy situation. We have those people in our life that we can go and we can complain about the craziest crap, and they're always going to say, you're right, that's horrible. That doesn't necessarily help you make changes. Hearing that you're right and that's horrible isn't necessarily the ticket to making a good transformation. Finding the door out of the bad place.
Amen. And I think probably we know that innately. Like, I know who to go to in my life that I know when I have mucked up and it's my fault and I don't want to admit it and I don't want to be held accountable. I know who I'm going to be like, can you believe this? Then I also know who I'm going to when I need to be called out on my
stuff. Absolutely. And that's why it's like, Oh my God, that's why it's so important to have those people that are neutral, that are just like, hey, I'm gonna hold your hand, I'm here for you, but we gotta find a safe way to help you find the exit out of this.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and it's very possible. And so that's part of it, is like, find your team, that one person. And I just have to say this, like, okay, and I'm sure that we all know this, and we've all been this, that we're not ready for the change. Like, it's like we're more comfortable to sit in that place and complain about whatever crap is going on before we make the change, right?
Yes.
Before we commit. And so if there's anybody listening, if there's something that you're like, just that you complain about nonstop, right? Is it time for you to make that change? Do you need to reach out and talk to somebody and start formulating a plan? Or what are you afraid? Why are you afraid to make that change? What's holding you back? What is your fear? Talk to somebody about it. Because there's a better life waiting for you than being pissed off all the time, so to speak.
And you know what it is like sometimes we are just so comfortable in what we know. It's like you always choose what you know, even if it's an abusive relationship, for example, or just something low vibing, but that's your norm. So the up leveling feels scary, and even though we obviously know that's better, that would make me happier. It's hard to get there.
The thing is I think it's hard to imagine what that is, right? It's hard to imagine, what does life look like? What does life feel like when I don't have this feeling of being pissed off at somebody all the time, when I don't have this feeling of being afraid of X, Y, and Z all the time. It's hard to imagine a life void of what we have been holding on to, possibly for decades.
Yes. And if that's your go-to coping skill, you got to get a new one. And what are you going to choose? Like, are you like, oh, what do I do now? So yes, you need somebody to guide you. Yeah.
So use this full moon energy you'll feel a little pressure, but really look at like, okay, what is being broken apart? What is being revealed? What am I finally ready to walk away from, or to shift the energy? Get somebody to help you. Sign up. There is I can't remember the name of it, but there is it was like life coaching for women. Like, it was really cheap. Like, they did it for people. Like, I think life coaches volunteered their time. I can't remember what it was though. And so if there's anybody listening that doesn't want to spend money, blah, 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 look for ways to get that support, but by somebody that's not friend or family. Yeah. Without an agenda. Find ways to get that support. Somebody that's in your corner without an agenda. So I think, because it's time this is great energy, great time to change your life. You know what else I read about the full moon? This sentence that I wanted to read you. It says that, okay, so it's an Aries full moon, and we're more likely to experience changes in our relationships, as well as a clearer awareness of our desires and needs. And I love that. I feel like I got so excited. I feel like that is like everything we need. It is. And the clarity to know what you want. Because like you said, I mean, sometimes it's very obvious, like what I'm marinating in my world today does not work any longer. But to have an idea of what else is out there, that's sometimes the hard part. We can't jump into the realm of the unknown. It's hard. I mean, and it can be like a block, right? A block to your future. And that's scary. Yeah. But that's why, allow yourself time and grace, but get a little help. I mean, I think I guess that's the message for this week. Get a little help if you need it. It's you deserve it. Totally. And also, how many times have you been the friend that the person is complaining to? Like, at some point, your friend doesn't want to hear it anymore. They're like, I remember this, and this is a parenting thing, and I know we only have 5 minutes, so I'll be quick here. But I can remember growing up and being, I don't know, high school, college age, and you have like your good friends, and there's always that toxic relationship. There's the girl dating the guy, and she's complaining, and he cheated on her, and they broke up, and then they got back together. And you get committed. You're like, yeah, get him. And then
they're back together all the time. And finally you're like, dude, this is so the same story, second verse, same as the first. I have daughters now going through that, and I can see them going through the same steps I went through. Like, yeah, how could he do that to you? You're better than that. And then the next week, what are you doing with him? And they were genuinely like shocked and appalled that their friends went back with this guy. And so we had to have like a sit down and explain it and give them like possible statements to use, like, you know, I love you and I support you, but I don't think I can hear about this anymore because you're not changing it. So I'm still here for you, but let's talk about something else. Because that's all, like, as a 15, 16, that's all you can offer. You're not a therapist. This is like the blind leading the blind at this point.
Yeah, but not even at 15, 16, right? Because, and then we'll pull our cards, but Kristin, how many people are prancing around on Earth that had some type of trauma at, you know, in their teenage years or younger, and so part of them emotionally still work from that place. And so
everybody.
Right. And so to that idea, oftentimes all we can offer is the capacity that we had at some point, if it's a trigger for us, the capacity of how we could support people when we were 6 or when we were 15, right? And so again, get that neutral person in your life.
For sure. Yeah, that is the key takeaway today.
It is. Hallelujah, praise Jesus.
Amen.
Okay. What's your card for the week?
Okay, my card for the week is the 6 of Angels. Okay, I want to show it to you though. So here it's like, the picture, if you can't see it, the picture is a woman, angel wings. There's a full moon behind her, and she's kind of looking down over her shoulder, and it's, the key word on it is transition. So I think the momentum is small, and I think it's just like one step at a time, and to be aware of each step. So maybe some self-reflection after each step. And this is whether you're like, I don't know, moving to a new house or traveling or on a journey or making a change anywhere. I would say just take it one step at a time. Like, what is that phrase? You don't need to know where the staircase leads. You just need to know where the step is. Like, where's the next step? Transition.
Hallelujah. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. You're on the right stairwell.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
Okay, I have expansion. Whoop, expansion of the universe. Isn't that pretty?
Yes, I love a good expansion. Tell me more.
Oh my God. So we are in this amazing time of potential of expand. The well is deep. The well of possibilities is deep. I love it. So enjoy allowing your mind to travel to all these ideas and all these the positive what ifs. What would life feel like if I lived in Rome? What would life feel like if I lived in Paris or whatever? Just imagine all the possibilities of how you can experience life.
Yes. Yes.
Logic has no room in this week.
Logic schmogic.
Yeah, trust your gut. Just go with the joy, go with the flow, go with the happy, and just allow yourself to have that expansion. That I love it. That curious expansion. Love, love, love it. Okay, so to learn about Kristin.
Follow me on Instagram at Garage Pilates. Follow Polly and I, truth.wellness.psychic, and you can find my website, garagepilates.net. And
you can follow me on pollywirum.com, and my Instagram, I don't know what my Instagram is, Polly_Wirum maybe?
I think it is. That'll be a fun challenge. Try to find her.
That's really sad. What else was? Okay. You can find my writing on Your Tango and Eden Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris and I we have our retreat starting Friday. So we definitely on Instagram, we will be sharing little snippets of stories, snippets of expansion, transformation, and joy, and Sedona image.
Yes. And a full moon ceremony with crystals.
Oh my God. And the best crystal guru in the world will be there.
Yes, she will. Follow along.
Yes. So thank you, everybody. And we appreciate the caller. Call in, send us messages, and just have the most beautiful week in the world.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristin and Polly, only on LA Talk Radio.